What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Let me see. What's today? I know it's Saturday, but what episode is this? I don't even know. Can't even tell you. Oh, 172. All right. So, those that catch us usually on Wednesdays, I wasn't there this week. Um, had family emergency going on. For those that are catching us live, catch us on Saturdays, I need to get back to our Friday shows. I need to get back to our shows that we planned out. I need to get back to a lot of things. Just been busy. Just just busy. Um let's see. I know there were some wins from the Wednesday night show. Wednesday night meetup. I don't know what those were. But congratulations to those that did have wins. And you should be looking at wins every week, you know. Should be looking at wins every week. So let's let's get into some things, and then I am going to get into some real life things. So I just want to braise because this is something I was just looking at. So the Pentagon is cutting 5,400 people next week. They're cutting 5,400 civilian workers. The IRS what did 10,000. Um, so again, I'm gonna read this article, and I have it on my phone. I have it pulled up on my phone, so let me see where that article leads me to because um I like that article a little bit more than what they were saying. Let me see if I can get back to it. I might not can get back to it. I might have closed it out, but basically, in that article, it goes along with what I've been saying the whole time. if if you're not mission critical, if you're not working towards the company or whatever whoever you're working for goal, then it don't make sense. So let me go here with the Pentagon. All right, so the Guardian may have me log in, but let's find out. Put my glasses back on, and then let me blow it up. You can read with me. All right. Yeah. So the initial civilian layoffs will be followed by a Department of Defense hiring freeze to analyze the military personnel needs in compliance with Donald Trump's political goals, and so forth. We anticipate reducing the department civilian workforce by 5 to 8% to produce efficiencies and refocus the department on the president's priorities and restoring readiness in the force. Again, they're asking for one. They're pushing to ask for $1 trillion come next year. So we're gonna see how that goes after this first round, first year. It's simply not in the public interest to retain individuals who contributions are not mission critical. Taxpayers deserve to have us take a thorough look at our workforce top to bottom to see where we can eliminate redundancies. In other words, eliminate redundancies in programs as well too. The announcement of the sweeping firings of civilian workers was followed by Donald Trump firing the current chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Brown Jr. The initial Pentagon job cuts planned for next week are a fraction of the 50,000 the Defense Department losses that some had anticipated, but they may not be the last. The Department of Defense is the largest government agency. I told you DoD is the largest. They make the most money. They have the most people in them, and they also have the most do the most work. I think, to me, possibly longer term. 2 year base, 3 year option. But there's some projects in the government that have been running 30, 40, 50 years. The Department of Defense is the largest agency, with the Department of Accountability Office finding in 2023 that it had more than 700,000 full-time civilian workers. A 5% to 8% cut in the force would mean layoffs of between 35,000 to 60,000 people. The announcement of these cuts come after staffers from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency Initiative, Doge, were at the Pentagon earlier in the week and received lists of employees. U.S. officials said they said those lists did not include uniformed military personnel who are exempt. Probationary employees are generally those on the job for less than a year and who have yet to gain a civil service protection. The Department of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has supported cuts, posting on X last week. The Pentagon needs to cut the fat and grow the muscle, grow the war fighters. All right, so why am I talking about this? There's a couple of things, and I'm gonna tie it in to some personal things. But let me pull up a note here. And then let me create a note. Well, let me pull up text edit. So we're going to tie this in all in one swoop. All right. And before I do, let me make sure I get shout outs to everybody. Let me make it 46. That may be a little better. All right. Jay Williams, thank you for your support. And we're gonna get into that really quickly. Charlena, what's going on? Farron. I'm I'm always gonna mess up your name. Armanasia. Um, I hope you find a meetup. You have to search it for in Tampa. For those that's why I give you meetup.com/women in Linux. If you search it for in Tampa, you'll find it. Done, what's going on, and D, what's happening. All right. So a couple of things. I'm gonna give you um the multitude of things. So, all right. So they having layoffs with the Pentagon. They having layoffs with the IRS. They having layoffs DOD. This, that, and other. And I've always told you all that you got to have skill sets in order to maneuver and in order to shift. And I've talked about this plenty of times before. I don't know if I have it. Oh, let me look. I know I didn't put it on Lucid Chart. I know it's in a nope. I know it's in a text edit document. And I've talked about this before. So let me see if I can find it. Because I don't want to really repeat what I've written down already. But let me see if I can find it. Open reset. Career Linux Austin investments. Average earner career path, maybe it may be career path. No. Nine, I'm just have to go from the top of my head. And that's not a big deal, but there's so much more I had written down on it. Financial mistakes, career trajectory. Maybe? No. All right. We'll start from scratch. So let's talk about this. I know it may like seem like a far stretch, but it's not. All right, so let's talk about it. So first things first, layoffs um happening across the board. Now I always talk about skill sets. And I talk about skill sets for a reason. One, you can take your skill sets after a layoff and consult. You can also take your skill set and be a teacher or trainer. You can also take your skill set and whether you consult, and then let me paraphrase this. Let's do 1099 or W2. You could create classes. You could also come in, and I should expand on consulting here. Consulting could mean Say you have a unique set of skills where you understand OpenShift, you understand Ansible, you understand Kubernetes, whatever. You could be a niche skill set, and consult just under that one skill set, right? Or you could be a generalist and consult. You could just hop on something like it's what's the name of that company? We did an interview with them. It was a black guy. Um, so there are companies out there that are looking for people to consult, but not just here in the United States, but around the world. So you can join like a consulting company, and let them go find the work for you. And I'm not talking about what's the one, not Task Rabbit. What's the other little thingy that everybody hops on? I forget, but not that. I'm talking about a real consulting company where you go take a test. They go look at your credentials, and then they put you into a pool, and then you get gigs that way, right? You can also do speaking engagements. Yeah, Upwork. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not talking about Upwork. It's another one, right? So when we start looking at why I preach so much about skill sets, I preach so much about skill sets because, I mean, to me, it's like um making you a skilled ninja, if you want to make it, if we want to talk about it like that. Yeah, fiber and then the other ones. So when I'm talking about your skill sets, people often misconstrue it as, I mean, just working W2. Is nothing wrong with working W2 if you can, but if you can work 1099, you can too, right? You can get money that way too. So what I mean about this, all right, oftentimes as a consultant, W2, you will get paid hourly, but it'll be salaried as well. What do you mean, Tamika? Meaning that you might, it could look like you make 150K a year, right? But you also, because you make that 150K a year, 150 divided by 20, 80, 72 an hour. That also means that you get, excuse me, 72 an hour for your money, right? For your hourly, or 72, or we'll just say 73 for rounding it up, right? So that means you could get paid hourly on the job, meaning like, hey, instead of working, if you work 40 hours, they still gonna pay you straight time for I mean, 50 hours, they still gonna pay you straight time for those other 10, right? They're gonna give you the other 10. So I'm just showing you, when you're thinking about these things, like, be mindful of what they're asking, and then also understand the power you have, right? You know, some of you all don't understand the power that you already possessed, right? You already possessed it. Yeah, top down is who I was thinking about. Um, Thank you, D, for that. So, why are we talking about this? All right. So I'm going to give you Tamika's personal journey, and how I have always looked at things. I hope this makes sense. All right. So Tamika's personal journey. Tamika comes from an only child, right? An only child. So I've always looked at it as, if I don't get it, nobody else is going to get it for me. And that has nothing to do with Um, that has nothing to do with like abuse or whatever. I've just always had that mindset. How does this translate to layoffs? Okay, how this translates is if I get laid off tomorrow, I know I have the skill set to navigate into something else. One, two, the relationships, and three, the money that I have been making can support what I want to do next. So a lot of people that you're gonna meet are gonna be like, $100,000 should be enough for you to live off of. No one ever said it wasn't enough to live off of. We just saying it ain't enough to thrive off of. Some people just want to live, others want to thrive, and then there's one another level above thrive. And the level above thrive is where you seek, where you should be seeking and looking to see who else is there so you can get there. And to me, it ain't even, it ain't, I don't even want to call it excel. I don't even know what to call it, right? Thriving is okay, but it's another level beyond thriving. And you can call this, we'll call it Tam's world. All right. So that in that world, it's, listen, you buckle down, you understand the markets, and the reason why tech stocks and jobs got formed is from understanding the financial markets to understanding where money is being put at in those markets, how those markets create jobs, and how we can be ahead of the game. I've been talking about quantum and edge computing and AI and all this stuff for probably at least 6 7 years. I kid you not. And you can go back and look at my older videos. You can go back and look at when we started the very first tech stocks and jobs. You can look and see. I don't have a reason to lie. You can go look back and see what I've been talking about. And the thing of all the common theme amongst all the subjects is no matter who's in office, we don't care because we're going to eat, and we're going to eat how we want to eat, and we're going to do the things we want to do because we're prepared for those things, right? So here is how all this relates. So say you get a memo tomorrow or tonight, and they say to you, hey, you out of here Tuesday. Now a lot of you will be upset, but I've already said to you time and time again that sign on bonus, take that sign on bonus, put that money into an account and let it grow. Let it sit there for a year. Why? Because you never know how a job could move. Now imagine you got a sign-on bonus and it's 30,000. And the sign-on bonus is 30,000. You let it sit there for a year and play some market, or you had it in Nvidia, or you had it in something else. Imagine what that could look like in a year. And imagine it could be gone. So be careful where you put it at, right? You want it to grow. So be prepared to maneuver, right? So you get the layoff cut tomorrow. You got the 30,000 that you got signed on with, and you can relax a little bit. Just a little. I ain't saying you're gonna take off for 5 or 6 months. I'm just saying you're gonna, okay, I got something to hold me over. Okay, 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 okay. And then you make a move. Now, when you don't have it, You don't have no sign up bonus. You ain't stacked up no money. You don't even have a job that pay you enough for you to even stack up your money. You got debt over debt over debt over debt over debt over debt. It don't look good. The prognosis don't look good. So you see, we're gonna see more people creating content now. We're gonna see more content creation now. We're gonna see more people talking about I got laid off. What we gonna do? How we gonna move? Versus, and I just kind of let me get it pulled up real quickly because I just want y'all to be in the mindset of like you gotta get it because you do you gotta go get it. Like this is no way around it. Let me get signed in on this and let me go to my playlist. I guess it would be no. Look at my history. See if it's gonna come up. No. All right. So yeah, live events. All right. So on O'Reilly, right? Those who know I'm biased to Safari, for whatever. I've been using them for over a decade. All right. So with O'Reilly, I can go and look at I don't want to look at my playlist. I forget where it's at. Let me go back here. Oh, there it is, live events. That's what I want. Yeah, my events. Your recordings. Okay, so here I'm saying to you to to be ahead of the game, and what I'm saying to you is, in order to be ahead of the game, you gotta follow the money. So we got the layoffs here. So something had some so that frees up some money to do something else. And what is that something else? And people you can't have more than like 4, 5, 6 million people unemployed in the United States. It just don't work that way. It just ain't gonna work that way. So you gotta be thinking like what is number one, mission critical skills. I already told y'all anything Linux, anything cloud, anything quantum, anything AI, anything edge computing, anything security around any of those, anything when it comes to being hybrid on prem or all three clouds. A lot of you are AWS focused. That's where we get back to my that's where we get back to my thing, this niche skill set, right? Well, I'm just AWS focused. I may know all three clouds. I'm generalized, like I'm generally focused. I don't have the skill set to go out there and find my own work, so I'm gonna utilize a consulting company to help me go find my work. I don't want to do any of those things. I can teach. So I'll make content on teaching. I'll go and join someone like Coursera and make courses or whatnot. I'll become a trainer. I'll make my own courses, and get my own self paid, right? I'll do speaking engagements. Again, we're talking about all these things right here, these skill sets right here still get you paid. These skill sets right here still get you paid, whether you're W-2 or 1099, or you're going to work at a college, or you're going to go research and do research and development somewhere else. I'm just saying, think outside of the box. Don't let the layoffs take you off your track, right? Now, how does this all relate to me? All right. So for me, nope, I'm not laid off or nothing of that nature. But everybody knows and has known for quite some time. My mom is sick, right? And I look at, and this is coming from the person that's the only child, right? Going back to what I stated, I look at it like, okay, hey, you gotta you're either gonna write down what you need to do and execute it to completion. A lot of you will start stuff and you won't complete it. It don't make sense to execute it and then you don't complete it, right? So just this week alone, I've been looking at where am I at in life in reference to how can I make sure what's about to happen is executed to completion and does not disrupt, not necessarily in a bad way, but not does not disrupt what I have to accomplish in order to get things done for my sanity. I hope that made sense. So when it comes down to, hey, I want to make sure that number one, showing up for meetings and also showing up for uh I don't want to say people, but showing up for your close friends, showing up for your network, showing up for the things that you need to do, and the last but not least, showing up for yourself. I think oftentimes in times like this, people forget to show up for themselves. And so, what does that look like? That looks like being clear about what it is you need to get done on a day-to-day basis. If you need to study at 8 o'clock, get your ass up and study at 8 o'clock. And if you can only study in 15, 20, 30-minute increments, do so. But don't let people take you off your game on what you need to do for yourself. The layoffs are gonna happen. People gonna clown. People gonna talk about you. People ain't gonna like you. But that should not take you off your focus on what you gotta do for your sake, for your sanity. Put a one in the chat if I'm making sense, because I may not be making sense to you. Put a one in the chat if I'm not making sense. Oh, the two in the chat, sorry. If I'm not making sense to you, put a one in the chat if I'm making sense. The other piece to this. Sound like Wednesday meetup. Oh, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. But the other piece to this is documenting everything that you do. So I'm gonna tie my personal stuff in to what we're doing here because like it's just so important. Number one, for those of you that get your job offers, I already told you, always ask for a sign-on bonus. If you don't get a sign-on bonus, then cool, fine, whatever. However, when that paperwork come over for you to invest into your 401k, go make the investment. If they don't have no 401k, open up an IRA, invest it. Open up a brokerage account. Open up a open up a high yield savings account. Why? Why am I talking about that? I am talking about it because you're never gonna know when you're gonna need those items to be in place. Yep, your HSA to be in place to help you out for someone else. You're never going to know when those items are in place to help you out for you to help someone else. Now, fortunately enough, I don't have to touch none of my stuff in order to be okay in my situation. But had the person not taken the time to do those things, we wouldn't be having a conversation now because I would have had to pull for my stuff. So it behooves you to go out and make the most money that you can so you can make sure that you're okay. And if it arises, somebody needs to tap in and ask you for something, you got it to support it. But I say give it away. I said just support so that you can be okay. Now, the other piece to this is you can't get there by listening to the naysayers and trying to tell you what you need to be doing with your life. The naysayers are always going to tell you what you should be doing, how much money you should be good with, how much money you ought to be okay with making, the lifestyle that they want you to live. And you got to be okay with living the lifestyle you want to have. If your lifestyle is, I want to go out here and I want to go buy uh the 1920 uh Mustang or whatever, a 1960 Mustang, go buy it. But just know what that comes with. And when I say know what that comes with, meaning like what you got to do for it in terms of like restoration and maintenance and so forth, just understand those things that come with it, right? The other piece to this, especially when it comes to layoffs, is your spirit and your mental health. And I'm gonna say this with the most with trying to be have the most grace as possible. You are going to get comfortable with making money when you make money. Meaning, I'm okay with the skill set that I'm at 150. I'm okay with the skill set I'm at 200. I know I can do this and I know I can do that. But always remember there's always somebody that's out there hungrier than you and will be willing to go get it. So if you don't, and I hate to use this term because I don't want people to think I'm, trying to be, but if you ain't got that dog in you, if you ain't willing to go out there and like, you know what, check RECSA, check RCE, check CKA, check cloud, check AWS, GCP, Azure, check over here. If you not willing to do those things and fight, I don't know what to tell you. But you got to be strategic with your fight. I mean, be clear. Be strategic with your fight. And I told you how to be strategic. I've shown that to you. For those that haven't been watching us, you can go back. You can go back and watch any episode, but yeah. You can go back and watch any episode, but now I talk about it. But listen, I'm telling you this because I see it with my own eyes. When people are inadequate with themselves, they will push their inadequacies off on you and they will turn around and try to mentally sabotage you because they're inadequate. So you got to be willing and mindful to know that what you talking about don't make no sense to me. And you got a plan to do what you need to do. Right? Um Easy, you said I'm trying to get back into my evening studies. So I'm gonna tell you like one of my homeboys used to tell me. Every time you say you trying, you got to donate $1 to the Tameika Foundation called Women in Linux. So go ahead and donate us $1 for every time y'all type trying or say trying. You got to donate $1. Easy. Thank you for your donation today. I appreciate you. Uh, thank you for your donation today. We appreciate you. All right, I'm gonna take the word trying out. He said, I'm getting back to into my studies. I know that's what has to be done. The first 3 weeks of the new job kicked my butt. That's okay. I hope you got what you needed out of them 3 weeks and organize your thoughts and organize what you needed to do and how you needed to learn. I hope you got that. Who's okay with making 200 or 400K? I am. If there ain't no million after the number, no rest. Yeah, right. You said the L Ren Jones says I know this is sort of off topic, but how do you recommend starting a portfolio for system engineering? What employers will be looking? So it's not even a portfolio for system engineering. It's just understanding systems. And listen, this is this is a hidden secret, but it's not a hidden secret. Most of all of your government agencies and really your commercial agencies all have the same damn problem. That's what's so cool about in your generalist in your niche or niche, you have the foresight already because you already living and been through it. You're gonna always have someone creating an application that's gonna be substandard. You're always gonna have someone that's creating an application that is overcomplicated. You're gonna always have someone creating an application and just ever forever changing that application. You're always going to have someone that is going to not have the skill set that is needed and won't do the work. You know, the number one problem that everybody has that I often see, this is the first time ever I don't have nothing around, but I can use this. People won't read, won't even read, won't even open up the book. Book still don't have no creases in it. Won't even take the won't even listen to Audible for a book. Like you won't even listen to a book. Just won't read. People won't read. So here's my thing. For those of you that know how to read and like to read, you're gonna go far in life. Read every document, read every period, read everything, and not only read it, summarize it, and take notes on it. Be ready to discuss it at any moment's notice. Any moment's notice. It says, Justin, you said hi. Hopefully all is well. How do you deal with uncertainty in your skill set, staying encouraged in the Linux training? Oh, Justin, that's easy. Keep failing. Keep failing. Your failures are your wins. Every time you fail, you learn. Let me tell you how I know you learn. Because every time you fail, you be like, damn, what did I do wrong? Oh, I should have did this. So you learn something. And then once you learn that, then you go back and you don't mess up that no more. And you keep going back and you keep going back and you keep going back. I spent a lot of time in the lab, in my own lab, learning Linux. I spent making my own lab, building it out, chunking books, getting mad until I got to the point where I could get in an interview and they asked me questions. I was like, oh, I know what problem you having. You having this, da 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 da, and da 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 da, and that's it. But that's because I failed. I failed several interviews. I interviewed with Carnegie Mellon, failed it. The guy was like, it was a 2 hour interview. This is back in the day. And he was like, he's like, write me a Python script that does with functions and such and such. And this was in this had to be 2006 or something like that. This is when interviews were online. I mean, on the phone, and they would have you open up a terminal and write stuff. Now, in recent years, part in the last 2 years, I haven't seen interviews like that anymore. I'm not saying they don't exist. I just haven't seen them like that anymore. People don't ask you to open up a terminal. They don't ask you to do these things. I don't see that anymore. I don't know if that it still exists. I don't know. Do they still do the coding challenges where you have to log in and write them a script right there in front of you and all that stuff? Do they still have that? I don't know. I haven't seen those. I think people are now to the point now. Or you can go look that shit up and probably have somebody else write it. We need you to do X. We need you to do something else. I don't know. I just haven't heard of people saying that in their interviews they had to do that. Yeah. Most of the stuff I'm hearing now, especially on the DoD side, they're one and done. They only got one. They only want to know what you need, what can you do, and can you do it today, and we done. That's it. And are you willing to come to work? Are you willing to come into the office? Right? That's what I've been seeing. All right. Let me go back up. Kamai, you said you can read. Well, shit, you should be getting these jobs. All right, so all right, you said I'm a little over a month in my new role, and I'm taking notes and have our working sessions recorded so I can revisit it. Yep, yep, yep. And you know what you should do, even though you revisit those working sessions, you need to implement them. Like at when they're doing it, you take your time and then go implement what they're talking about. Literally get your hands on the keyboard, right? So don't trust but verify. Just because they say it or whatnot, don't mean you know it. So you need to go and make sure you do the work. E Brown, thank you for coming. Even though you late, we forgive you. We forgive you. I've thrown many of books. I've thrown calculus books, physics books. I've thrown computers. I'm like, you know what? F this computer. I literally, because we stayed in an apartment in the back. I literally took an old computer and I was like, I'm so sick of this goddamn computer. I picked it up and threw it. I went back and got it later on, but still I threw it. Just learn bots have been taking certain exams in 4 minutes. Now the exams are being rotated. The new role now, the role I'm in now was one and done. It's almost too good. Yeah, one and done. Right. So I hope what I was talking about made sense. Prepare yourself for whatever, but utilize your skills that you have in your day to day for your job. You can utilize those skills in your life, in your personal life. I know I have. Preparing me for the ultimate, which is death, and having to understand, like, the grace and understanding of how does a 401k work? How does how do how do how do how does getting your name on the deed of things work? How do trusts work? How do wills work? Wills will always go to probate court. Don't let nobody fool you and tell you that you need to have a will. You need to have a will and trust, but it's a whole different ball game when you got siblings, and it's a different ball game when you're the only child. When you're the only child, you have to prepare for whatever's coming down. It ain't nobody else's shoulder but yours, and you got to be ready to go at any moment. And that moment may be, hey, I need to go over here and pick out this plot. Well, that plot may be 20,000. Do you got the 20? Where you gonna pull it from? I gotta go over here and get such and such mentally ready for whatever. And you know your people. And when I say your people, I ain't talking about your family. I'm just talking about people in general. You know who can handle news and you know who can't. So you got to be that person that always thinks sanely. It's the other part of that. I always hear these conversations about, oh, you gonna die alone. Oh, you ain't gonna have nobody there. This, that, and other. I don't know what people think dying alone is, right? You think because you're married that that person is going to be there for you, let me tell you, just because you married doesn't mean that person knows how to handle death. Sometimes people check out. And so they may not show up for you the way you think they was going to show up for you because they just can't handle it. So you, as the person who's going through it, have to make sure you put things in place for protection for your own self, even on your way out. So I'm gonna give you Tameika's list. Get your name on all bank accounts. Get your name on all insurance policies, whole life. I mean, whole, well, permanent and term. Make sure you're on all. Make sure you're on all bank accounts and what's the word I'm looking for? 401ks, HSAs, all of that. Make sure you understand uh everything that that person has. When I say everything that that person has, cars, houses, um, utility bills, the whole nine. Heather, do not pay 10K for your RHC, RHCSA, RHCE. Hey man, I'm not gonna say nothing. If you feel like you gotta go pay that 10K, knock yourself out. I showed you how you can get it out here for $50. I even showed you how to get it for free because I taught all the classes except for the RHCA. I mean RHCE. All right. Let me look at here. Wholesaling, Tony. You wholesaling, right? You go and buying houses and land and so forth and flipping and so forth. Wholesaling, Tony. I'm hoping that's what you're doing. How many of those properties have you kept? How many of them have you built on? And the reason why I ask, here's the other flip side to this, which they all tie in together back to the layoffs. When we talk about it, suppose you had a layoff that was coming up, or you thought about it, or that they was thinking about it, or you wanted to switch jobs. Say you had, I don't know, Tony. Say you had a piece of land that you bought at $5,000 and now it's worth $50,000. That asset can help you through your layoff. That's why I tell y'all, while y'all building out here, building and making money, if you don't go buy the house, buy the land. If you not gonna buy the house, buy the land. Turn it and flip it. Keep the land. And the reason why I'm telling y'all this is because at any moment's notice, if let me ask you this. Could if I dropped 130,000 on one person in the chat right now, would that make you debt free? Screw it. Let's go 150. If I drop 150,000 on you right now, would that make you debt free? I just want to know. And if you were debt free right now, because I just be wanting to know what people gonna do. If you are debt free right now, what job would you go after, or would you not work, or would you go do a hobby? How would you look? What would you do? Well, because I want to know, because I know if I got debt free, I'm still gonna work in tech because I just enjoy it, and I'm gonna go do whatever it is I want to do. I enjoy working in tech. I enjoy looking at investments. We all saw Palantir take off. I looked at when I got into Palantir. I got into Palantir when it was $10. You can acquire cash flowing assets. That's another conversation for another time. But I really want to put this out here, and I'm gonna end on this note. It's cool for y'all to go out there and get into these trades. It's even better if you buy the trade. It's cool to want to go be a truck driver, or a plumber, or a HVAC, but you ain't got to do that. I listen. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But I just never met a guy who said I'm I'm a retired lawn caregiver. I've never met a guy who said I'm a retired HVAC guy, or I just ain't never met him. I ain't saying they don't exist. I just ain't never met him. Most of the people I know, they be like, my back hurt, my knees hurt. I can't squat and bend like I used to. I, I don't know. I'm biased. So for me, to me, it just make more sense to buy the company, own the company. Those that company has assets, right? That you can use and expand on or sell off. That's all I'm saying. Tim, you want to work in tech, low stress. Where you going to go work that's low stress? Tech is so low stress. You said you met them. They usually did it by working for themselves, then selling. Yeah, they had to sell their business. They had to sell their business. But I never seen nobody say I retired from this. No, I ain't doing this no more. I'm out of the game, coach. I don't work for this company. Blah 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 blah. You know, the buyer may not inherit that debt. The buyer may sell that debt off. That's what you see a lot of times with these private equity companies. They know that this particular division is eventually going to end up in debt or is at a debt, so they shut it down or sell it off. That's what they do. That's trimming the fat. You said data center technician one is tech, and some of them can be low stress, but it depends. Oh yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, this is what I want to end on. I mean, I had so much other stuff to talk about, but this kind of was important to me. Give yourself a standing ovation for all the accomplishments that you have made, and give yourself a standing ovation that you already know where you want to go and you have a plan to get there. Because I can guarantee you, majority of those people that had layoffs have no clue where to go next and no clue what to do. So if you got a job today and you got laid off today, do you think that you can get hired today or next week? Or do you think that you're going to be laid off for 6 months? I'm just going to say this. I've never, knock on wood, been laid off for 6 months. Now, I have taken time off of work for 3 months because I was like, I just want to go to bed. I'm tired. I just want to sleep. Put yourself in a position where your skill sets cannot be denied. And the only way you would do that, and the only way you can do that, if you are working towards being strategic, following the money, and knowing what those skill sets are. There's no way around it. Gartner releases reports every year. Their DoD contracting comes out every year for their with their budget. Everyone has an idea, whether it's public sector, private sector, and even at the state level. There's a 10-year plan for every city on where they're going to have potential growth and what they're looking at. You can go buy land in those areas. You can go buy apartments, townhomes, duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes in those areas. Understand how to make your money work for you. Some of you would never invest in the stock market. You will only invest in real estate. Some people will never invest in real estate. They will only play the stock market. I got friends now, they will never invest in the stock market. They don't care what the stock market doing. They just gonna go buy houses. That's just who they are. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with doing both or one or the other or three or whatever the case may be. And before we get out of here, if you all have not connected with each other through Slack or outside of YouTube, then you're doing yourself a disservice because you never know who's going to be able to speak your name in other rooms. I got a super huge call next week. Shout out to Kiana. I might be a fangirl D. I might fan out. I might fan out. I just might fan out. But I say this. People will always remember you by your work ethic. They will always remember you by your attitude. And they will always remember you by your how you execute and deliver. I'm just telling you. If you're not executing to completion, people will always remember that you did not complete something. If you're not pushing and understanding how the dynamics of relationships work and studying people will remember that. You say you only know one person that got laid off of Meta. Like, infrastructure ain't going nowhere. I don't know how to. I just don't know how to say it any other way. It's one of those things that infrastructure is gonna always be here. Somebody's gonna always need a stack of servers. That's why you got all these data centers being built. Somebody got to put in them servers. Somebody got to manage them. Somebody got to keep them up to date. And yes, you can train AI to do things, and yes, you can build robots to do them so they free you up to do other stuff. But I'm just letting you know, everybody ain't Meta, and everybody ain't Google. There are still your hosting companies out there, such as your HostGator or High Velocity or uh, uh, Digital Ocean, if you really want to call them a hosting company, your name cheats and so forth. Right? Those companies need people to understand all the basics, the Linux, the DNS, the networking, the security, the firewall ports, the whole nine. They need all of that. Yep. So until you all get it in your mind that you don't always have to go work at the big companies, you can go work somewhere else like a CVS or a Dollar General or Comcast. Like Comcast, Verizon, AT&T all have federal contracts. HP, Dell all have federal contracts. Oracle, a federal contract. And my I add, Dell and HP pay nice. And let me clarify when I say nice. I'm talking like the 250s, the 300s, the 400s. I'm talking about that nice. Yeah, it's so many companies use old Cisco equipment. Exactly. They looking for somebody to come in and help us automate these upgrades. You know how to use Ansible. You know how to pop on a command line and do fast Ethernet 0/0. You know how to set up routing protocols. You know how to do that. You know how to set up my ACLs. Oh, okay. Well, good. Hire that person. That's what we need. Just being honest. All right, y'all. That was my message for the day. If you don't have your ducks in a row and you're waiting for somebody to help you get your ducks in a row, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're doing a disservice to your future person. And when I say your future person, it doesn't mean uh, a relationship, like an intimate relationship. It could mean a friend or whatnot. You're doing yourself a disservice by not doing what you're supposed to do. So do what you're supposed to do. Go out here and make this money. If somebody tell you no, go ask somebody else at the same company. Go backdoor up, right? And keep it pushing. All right, y'all. That was my message for today. I hope y'all had fun. I hope it all makes sense. Like I say, going back to the layoffs, a lot of people are not prepared in life. They don't have their 401ks. They didn't invest. They didn't do a HSA. They didn't invest into a brokerage account. They don't have emergency money stacked up for 6 months to a year. They don't have those things. But that don't mean you can't have those things. Right? That don't mean you can't have those things. All right, y'all. Get yourself together. Stop the doom and gloom. We got too much money to make out here and too many things to worry about other than somebody getting laid off. Right? Put your money up. Like Kendrick say, turn the TV off.